Hello, this is Rico. I'm coming to you from the island of Oahu in Hawaii. Um, I do apologize for not being able to be there with you today to celebrate the life of one Howard Calander. Howard Calander was my friend, and where I come from, when it's your friends going home day, you say your piece. You say a few words about what the person meant to you. So I'm going to say my piece right now. We had a lot of fun. We played a lot of music together. We produced shows. We played a lot of shows. We produced other musicians in their shows. We even played a inaugural ball for the President of the United States with a Native American committee, which was a great honor. I first met Cal when I was working on a pawn shop on the edge of Maryland, right over the D.C. line. He came in one afternoon, I believe it was a Saturday afternoon, and he said he was looking for some drum equipment. And so I asked him what specifically was he interested in, and I believe he was looking for some cymbal stands. So I showed him what we had, and after he had a chance to take a look at the selection, I engaged him in a conversation. I'm always curious to know uh, what another musician is experiencing and thinking. So after he had a chance to take a look at the inventory, I decided I would hit him up and, you know, just get some background information from him. At the time, I was looking for a drummer, and I had been looking around and looking around. I couldn't find anybody. And so he told me that he had been playing with a church, and that he had also spent a lot of time as a roadie, working with a local area band there in D.C. He said, however, he was trying to get out of the roadie business, and he was really looking for some opportunities to do more playing, and he wasn't having such an easy time of it, being that he had limited experience. And you know, right from the very beginning, I was impressed with the fact that he was willing to be so candid. So at that time, I had been playing, I don't know, maybe like 20 some odd years, and so I had a lot of experience, and he had said to me that he wanted to become a professional drummer, and I said to him, well, you know, this is what I'll do. I'll teach you everything I know, and you know, you give it your best shot, and there's no more I could ask than that. All in all, I guess we spent maybe like, you know, an hour, maybe an hour and a half, just talking about music and different tastes in music and who we liked, and, you know, things like that. And at the end of the conversation, I made him a proposal, and basically I told him that I was about to go on vacation. I was about to take a trip to Canada, and when I got back, um, I would call him if he liked, and we could get together, and perhaps he could end up playing some drums for me. And he thought that was an exciting prospect, and so we exchanged phone numbers. And with that, he said, "Well, I'll be waiting for your call." And I said, "Well, I'll call you." And he picked up stands that he was interested in purchasing and made his way to the cash register and paid for the equipment, and out the door he went. I proceeded to go on vacation and spend a month in Canada, and when I got back, sure enough, just as I told him, I gave him a call, and he was excited to get the phone call, but rather than have an audition or anything like that, basically I told him that I had a gig coming up, and I needed him to come and play some drums for me that weekend. So, to my surprise, that's exactly what he did. He did, and it was the beginning of a magnificent journey. So basically, he didn't have any time to prepare. We just hit the ground running. I wanted to see how he would handle the situation. And so when I got to the restaurant, we were playing a small restaurant over in Maryland. Lo and behold, to my surprise, he was already there. I have to say, that's a situation that I really wouldn't wish on any musician, but I'm going to tell you right now that Cal, he gave it 120%. And I'll tell you right now, I put him through the paces. I left no stone unturned. I wanted to see what the young man had. And so, he persevered and made it through the night, and I think he was wringing wet with sweat by the time we finished. But you know what? That's okay, because so was I. I think back on it now, I don't think I ever told him he was in the band. I just kept calling him, and he just kept showing up. And after a few weeks went by, we really began to gel, and it was really nice. It was almost like a symbiotic relationship. But Howard Calander was much more than just a drummer, just a musician. He was a wonderful friend, and he saved my butt many times. Many of those situations I won't go into here, and I won't get into the details of that, but some of you out there probably know some of those details, so we'll just leave it at that. Also, he was a husband and a father. I remember the first time I met his wife, Wilma. They were living in a small apartment over in Northeast DC, and he took me by and introduced me, and we had, I believe we had something to eat, if I recall. I don't remember exactly what the meal was, but it was good. Wilma's a good cook, and I remember when Shaniqua was born. I'll never forget that, because a couple of days after she was born, Cal brought her to the studio. I didn't mention that before, but we put together a recording studio that we operated for, I believe it was a couple of years. So as soon as Shaniqua was born, Cal brought her down to the studio, and it was me and him. I'll never forget it. And I would hold her, and he would play the drums, and I would hold up and let her listen to the drums, and then he would hold her, and I'd play some guitar, and so we introduced her to music in the very beginning of her life, and I hope she still loves it as much as we did. So for a time, I actually ended up living with Cal and Wilma and Shaniqua over in Arlington in the basement, and I got to say, I've never had a more enjoyable time. They were absolutely wonderful to me, and I really appreciate the fact that they invited me into their home and treated me so well. It really made a big difference. I was going through a difficult period, And they stepped up selflessly and did what they could do to help me through it. And I'll never forget you, Wilma, and the way you treated me. Made me feel so good. For that, I owe the Calander family a debt of gratitude. Thank you, sincerely. The years rolled by, and as time would have it, an opportunity came my way to relocate at that time to California. And so I decided to take the opportunity, but not without first discussing it with Cal in depth, because at that point we had become partners, um, and so I valued his opinion most assuredly. And if he would have actually told me not to go, I would have probably stayed in D.C. But he said, you know, go west, young man. And so I decided to make the move. And our time together came to an end. And I'm sad to say that the years rolled by, me being on the West Coast, and Cal and Wilma and Shaniqua being on the East Coast. Situations arose that made it difficult to stay in touch, and so for a while we lost touch with each other, and I regret it, most definitely. But as fate would have it, about 2 years ago, I was checking my email, and lo and behold, there was an email from Howard Calander. And I was so excited until I basically jumped up and down, because I had lost my phone book and I didn't have his phone number anymore, and I had been trying to get in contact and get a number for him, and I wasn't having any luck. And so the Creator decided to put us back in touch with each other. I deeply regret not being able to be there with you today to celebrate the life of my friend, Howard Calander. So long, everyone. God bless you.
Is that thing running? Yeah, okay.
It was the closest thing I have ever had to a brother